Okay. So I am so excited to be sitting here with you, Sadie. I know we haven't seen each other in such a long time, and
I
this is just going to
know.
be so awesome. Like I said, I'm so excited, and we're going to have a nice little chat and discussion, talk about a bunch of things, and talk about Sadie's book, Better Angels, which is awesome. I love it. And we're so happy to like gather here together, especially during this month. This month is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And it's really important to me and my family because my brother is a childhood cancer survivor. And I know it's very important to Sadie. And if you know Sadie, you know why. But if you don't know Sadie, Sadie, do you want to explain a little bit about why this month is so important for you?
Yes, well, I'm a childhood cancer survivor, and so I know what it's like to go through that, and I know how hard it is. And this month is really special to me because I don't know if any of y'all watching know this, but only 4% of funding goes to childhood cancer. Out of billions of dollars that goes to cancer research, only 4% of that goes to childhood cancer research. And in my opinion, that is just not enough. And so that's why, me and Sydney and many other kids and just people want to fight for childhood cancer. And that's why it's important to me because I know how hard it is. And it's something that, really just needs people to make a difference about. So that's kind of why it's important to me.
Yeah. So I wanted to just share a little bit about how you guys can get involved in this month and make a difference for children with cancer. So every year, my family's foundation, Arms Wide Open, we hold Curefest, which is normally in DC on the National Mall. And Sadie is such a huge part of that event. Obviously, it was canceled because of the pandemic this year, but there are some ways that you can still make a difference and it can still be really meaningful even though we can't all be together. So to register for Curefest, you can go to www.curefestusa.org, and there you can see all the details about the event. We have a virtual event this year that is going to be broadcasted at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 26th. It's going to be a 30-minute program with speakers and performances and other things. And it's just going to be a really awesome way for the entire childhood cancer community to gather together, but virtually. And then also on the 26th, we are having our virtual walk. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but we are using the MoveSpring app this year. And basically, what the app does, it tracks your miles and your steps. And on the 26th, we ask that you, your family, you walk around your park or your house or your backyard and take part in the Walk for Childhood Cancer that we usually have at Curefest. So you can join, download the app, the MoveSpring app, and then you can join with the code Curefest 2020 in all caps. And then you want to join the One Voice Challenge. And that is going to be the challenge that we do on September 26th. And we're going to be able to see all the cumulative miles that everybody has walked that day. So if you would like to take part in that, it's going to be awesome. And again, for more information on the event and that as well, you can go to www.curefestusa.org. And Sadie, I know that you are usually a huge part of Curefest. So do you want to share kind of like what you're doing even during this time where everything's kind of online and we can't all be in person?
Yeah, well, I know that, we would be in Washington, D.C., just helping make a difference there. But because of these times, we can't really do that. And one easy way that people can help as well is just sharing something on social media. And one way
Yeah.
that you can do that is go to my foundation website, Sadie Keller Foundation, on both Instagram and Facebook. So you can check us out, share some of our stuff, and help raise awareness about childhood cancer in September.
Yeah. And just spread the word, guys. You know, a lot of people think that this is some rare thing that doesn't really happen, but it really is so important to us and so many other people. So definitely check out Sadie's page and share as much as you can about childhood cancer during this month. So I want to get started on our little interview portion. So the first question I want to ask you is, do you remember when we met?
I do remember. It's crazy to think like how long we've known each other. Um, I think we met each other back in 2016 at Curefest. That was my first Curefest, and we got to know each other better whenever we lobbied on Capitol Hill together, and also we went to the botanical gardens,
Yeah,
which
that was so
that's
much
really
fun.
whenever we became friends, which that was so much fun. We definitely have to do that again, hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully
And
soon. Right.
just ever since then, we've just been friends, and we've worked together.
Yeah, I think that like, meeting you at Curefest, like there's so many things that go on at Curefest, but like the time where we really got to bond was when we did lobby, because that's something that's like kind of both a passion of ours, and like being able to do something so meaningful and like spending time together was just so much fun. And the botanical gardens was awesome. To you, this is all over. And we talked about lobbying just before, and I want to know, like, why is lobbying so important to you?
Yeah, well, kind of going back to the 4% again, that's why it's so important to me in helping pass these laws that will help childhood cancer. Because there's 12 different types of childhood cancers and over 100 different subtypes. And so it is really, really important to help fight for these kids. And so lobbying is one of my favorite things that I do. And it's just so fun for me. And like, one of the best things is like, kind of just educating people
Yeah,
on childhood cancer. And whenever you're lobbying, you know, you most of the time see congressmen staffers instead of the actual congressman or congresswoman. But they either have one or two of these reactions. They either have they're very interested. They ask many questions like, "Can you tell me a little bit more about the 4%?" Or they're kind of shocked, for me, a little girl, going in to, talk to them about what I've been through and using all these crazy words um,
yeah.
about what I've been through. And so they're kind of like, oh, wow, you're so strong. They just kind of don't know what to say. But in both situations, it's really, really awesome because, I know that I'm educating them and educating other people, which is really, really important. And it's something that I love to do.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I know that you're so great at that. And like when we went to go do it together, it is so true. Like people don't really know, and they just kind of they're like, "Oh yeah, this is so nice," but people don't really understand like the seriousness of it and how important it really is to so many people, and how like, we need to do better for the kids who have cancer and everything like that. So
Right.
I want to get to the big question. What inspired you to write Better Angels? Because the book is phenomenal, and I think it's so amazing that you wrote it at your age. Like so many kids at your age are just not doing anything, and here you are writing a book. So I want to know what inspired you to write this.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Sydney.
Of course.
Well, kind of what inspired me to write Better Angels was just to let people know that no matter what they're going through, any hard time that they can get through. My hard time was cancer, but yours could be anything you could think of or anything that you're going through. And so I know what it's like going through those hard times, and I know how hard they are. And so I wanted to write Better Angels to just motivate people and let people know that they just have to look for the angels because they're all around you and they're there in your life and they can help you. And just let people know that they can change the world. And in my book, I show you how I coped with those hard times and some of those things that I did.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I know obviously you have been through treatment and you've been through the horrors of the cancer world. So what's something that like inspired you and helped you get through your treatment?
Yeah, well, something that always inspired me and always made me feel just so much better was I would make treats for my nurses and doctors.
That's
And
awesome.
actually, I would love to read just a small part of my book
Yeah, I'd love to
on
hear it. Go ahead.
kind of that, me giving those treats. So here we go. This wasn't the best time for me. We had to go to clinic 2 times a week. Once a week, I got the whole deal: chemo, wound care, and a cleaning of my PICC line. This lasted for months, which when you're 8 years old is basically forever, especially when you're just starting treatment and see clinic after clinic in your future. I didn't want to go to the first clinic. That morning, I kind of freaked out even before I got in the car. But when we got there, I saw Flick, one of my cancer friends, giving out cupcakes to the doctors and nurses. His mom, Casey, is a really good baker. The other kids in the family are Banjo and Jubilee. All the medical people looked excited to get the treats, and I thought, that's a really cool idea. While sitting in the clinic, I looked for ideas on Pinterest using an iPad. This was in early April, a couple weeks before Easter. So I searched Easter treats. Up popped a picture of a rabbit made out of a styrofoam cup with paper ears, googly eyes, and paper circles for cheeks. Mom and I bought plastic wrappers at a baking store, stuffed one of them into a cup, and then filled the cup with candy. We made a bunch of those. I cut out every single circle and ear myself, and it changed everything. I couldn't wait to go to clinic so I could give Dr. Engel and all my nurses, including Brittany, treats. The next week, I got little jars the size of medicine bottles and filled them with jelly beans. I wrote labels for each one. Chill pills. Take 2 pills daily when stressed. If no progress, find Sadie immediately. I made 20 of those, buying the bottles at Hobby Lobby. Every week after that, I made something different. After clinic, I would say, what are we going to make next? The nurses couldn't wait to see what I would come up with, so I got into baking. I made cupcakes and sugar cookies with no more cancer on them, and a circle with cancer and a line through it. And I wrote other stuff, like #1 best doctor ever. I put the cookies in little wooden boxes from Hobby Lobby and painted the boxes with a marker. I put a name on each one. Dr. Engel, Jennifer, our social worker, Caitlin, the child life specialist, Fatima, the blood woman, and nurses, Brittany, Maria, Jen, Kelly, Christina, and Lane, and a bunch more. And so just giving back to my nurses and doctors, since they really were the ones who, were saving my life pretty much.
Yeah.
Just meant so much to me, and seeing them smile is really what just made me so happy. And so that's really what inspired me to get through my treatment and get through some of those hard times.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I feel like there's a lot of people who can kind of take what they're going through, especially like with cancer, something as serious as that, and be kind of like all about, and not that it's a bad thing, but really focus on everything that's going wrong and only about like the negative things that are happening. And I think it's so awesome that like you were able to turn that into a positive, and that you were able to like give back even though you were struggling yourself, and you were trying to fight cancer. And I think that that's so amazing. And like when you were reading that, like I can like literally hear that that was your goal, was to give back, and I can tell that that's your
Yes.
heart, and that's how passionate you are about that, which is so awesome. And my next question is, what are your key messages? Like when people read your book and when people like meet you or hear about you, what do you want them to know? Like what do you want to tell them or inspire them with?
Yeah, well, kind of my key message is to just let people know that they are not alone. Especially in these hard times, you can feel just so alone and depressed and sad.
Yeah.
And so I just want people to know that, they are not alone and they can change the world. And, you can dream of anything and you can achieve that dream. And I feel like just so many people need to hear that, especially when they are going through those times.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
that's basically just my key message for all of those people.
That's awesome.
And I think now, Sydney, I'm supposed to ask you some questions. So,
Okay.
and I know that you've been through your own hard time, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, my brother Billy was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma in July of 2008. I was 6 years old, and that kind of like changed and disrupted my entire life as I knew it. It was something that was like really stressful for me, and I wound up getting terrible anxiety from it. As a sibling, there are a lot of different things that you deal with, and I'll share some of them. So when my brother was sick, if he had like an infection in his port or something like that, or if he got a fever, um, they had to go to the hospital like anytime. So it could have been 1 a.m., 7 p.m., 12 a.m., like it could have been any time. And sometimes I would wake up and my family, wouldn't be there. And that was really difficult. Obviously, a non-immediate family member would be there, but I would wake up and I'd be like, "Where's my family?" And like they went to the hospital. So that was something that I really struggled with was that separation from my family, because we are so close. And
Yeah.
like I mentioned, started to have like pretty bad anxiety, and that kind of like didn't help the situation at all that was going on. It made me even more nervous and afraid and scared. But something that I always turned to was music. And I had always loved music from a young age. And especially when my brother was sick, I began to sing and play the guitar. And that was kind of how I released my emotions and, like, coped with my fear and coped with my life and everything that was happening. So that's a little bit about me and how I've been affected by child care. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's just so awesome. And I'm so happy that like you found music and that's what helped you through your hard time, which is just really, really awesome. And I went through cancer as the patient, but I have an older brother, and it affects the whole family differently. And so I would
Yeah.
like to know, what was it like for you to go through this as a sibling?
So it was very difficult, like I mentioned before. And I feel like a lot of what the siblings go through is more of the like emotional side of things. Not that the patients don't suffer from that as well, but they're actively fighting for their lives. And then when you're separated from your family, it's more of this like emotional pain and strife that you're feeling. And I feel like a lot of siblings can kind of feel jaded, or feel like the parents aren't, showing them enough attention. In my case, I can't say that because my parents always made sure that I was taken care of and that I knew that I was loved just as much as my brother. And they would spend as much time with me as they possibly could. And I appreciated that. So that was one of the positive things of being a sibling in my case, that my parents were always on top of that and making sure that I was taken care of. But one of the negative things I would say is kind of how friends or non immediate family or just regular people, how they treat you in comparison to the sibling that is sick. I know this is definitely true for me. Let's say it was like a holiday and everybody is gathering around my brother, rightfully because they want to make sure he's okay, but nobody like knew that I was struggling, and nobody really came up to me and asked me how I was doing through it. So I found that, there was a lot of that attention from my other family members going to my brother and not going to me, even though I was still a part of the family, and I was still going through things as well. So that is kind of what it's like to go through, the whole cancer experience as a sibling. But something that I think is the most amazing part is it either makes or breaks your family. And in my case, and I know your case too, Sadie, like it made our families and it made us so much stronger, and it makes you, not want to do anything without each other, and you just want to be around each other all the time. And I think that that is something that is so important, is the family time after you go through something like that. And that is probably the biggest thing that I took away from the whole experience. Being a sibling is just like spending so much time with my family because it was so valuable. And
Yeah.
being that I kind of shared, my hard times, Sadie, what advice would you give to people who are going through a hard time or something, cancer or something else?
Yeah, my advice would probably just to be stay positive. And I know that so many people say that, just like, oh, you just got to make sure to stay positive. But really,
Yeah.
it makes all the difference. And in those hard times, you kind of don't know, what to stay positive about. And so here are some things that helped me stay positive. And one of those was making a list on what I'm grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever, you're in those hard times, you just want to focus on all the bad things. And sometimes you forget about things that you should be grateful for. So like I was grateful for my family, and my dogs, stuff like that. So then you can like look back on that and see everything that you have and that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And my next thing is getting up and moving. That's something that helped me incredibly. Whenever I was stuck in the hospital, I was just felt terrible. And one thing that would always help me was I would walk up and down the halls. And even if I really didn't want to, my parents would make me get up and do it, and I would always feel better afterward. And I was also known as the girl who walks because all the nurses would just see me all day just walking up and down the halls. So
That's so funny.
that's something that helped me a lot. So, you can just get up, walk your dog, go for just a small walk around your neighborhood, walk around your house, even just a little bit, exercise. And also, whenever you exercise and move, it releases endorphins in your brain, which is the hormone that makes you happy. And so that always is something that really helped me. And my last one is to just give to others. Like I said, whenever I was giving to my nurses and doctors, that would make me just so, so happy. And so, if you just like bake cookies for one of your friends or your neighbors, and just seeing them be happy can really make you happy. And, if you're filled around a room with a bunch of smiling, happy people, then you're going to probably be happy. And so if you make other people happy, then that's something that can help you stay positive, and see them smile can make you smile too. So
Yeah, that's so awesome.
my advice.
And it's funny, that you say that because, well, the first thing that I want to say is my brother was one of those people as well. He was always walking, like always out, and like he knew like every single nurse and doctor like by first and last name because he was always like out walking. Because I think, I haven't gone through it, but when you're sitting there, like, you don't want to just sit there, like you want to do other things. And I think that that's just so funny because my brother was the same way. But before you had mentioned about the list, and that is something that I've actually used with my anxiety. There's something about like writing down what you're thankful for or saying it out loud that really like helps you to stop focusing on the negative and to start focusing on the positive. And I knew for like me and my anxiety and my depression, when it was at its worst, I really focused on that. And because, if you're thinking in such a negative mindset, like you're not going to be able to escape it. But if you start thinking about the positive, it forces your brain to start going there instead of automatically going to the negative. And that's pretty much what I did as well, to help me. So it's so crazy too to see like these things are so universal. Like it can work with somebody who's going through cancer or somebody that has anxiety or even both. Like, I think staying positive is such a key thing for like any aspect of life. So yeah, I completely agree with everything that you said for sure.
Yeah, and I know that you said that getting into music really helped you with your anxiety as well. And I was wondering if you had any songs that you wrote about your experience.
Yeah, so actually, my latest song that I just released, Beauty from Ashes, is all about my anxiety and what it was like to go through it, but then what it was like to overcome it. And kind of like, I wrote it in like a really dark place in my life when I really wasn't feeling the greatest. And I think that it's just so funny that a song that like I wrote when I was feeling my worst, like I wrote it about like as an anthem for myself almost like I'm going to get through this. I'm going to be okay. And then like to see how it took on like other meanings for other people and it helps other people was like so amazing. And I would love to share that with you and sing a little clip for you.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
be awesome.
Awesome. So, like I said, this song is called Beauty from Ashes. I'm not going to sing the full thing. I'm going to sing just a clip of it. But again, this is kind of this is my song about my experience and kind of like me being triumphant in it. So this is Beauty from Ashes. Thought I was all alone, thought I was on my own. That's just how you made me feel. Always away from home, always takes a toll on mind, your body, and your soul. Keep trying, keep fighting. All the voices inside of my head that keep lying, keep talking, but I'm not listening. Oh, I will rise with fire deep inside. Just keep my eyes up to the sky. I won't be kept down. I can't get off the ground. I won't be pushed around. Oh, I will rise. I will not fall. 'Cause after all, I'm a warrior, I'm victorious, and I have strength to carry on. So that's a little clip of that song. Thank you.
That was so awesome. Thank you so much for singing that.
I'm so glad that I got to share it. And I feel like like I had mentioned before, this song, like when other people heard it, like I wrote it about something so personal in my life. And then when you hear like other people talk about it and say like that helped me, and almost like your book too, like, and I'm sure you've already gotten people, but you'll get people that say, like this helped me, and they could be like a 45-year-old man, and they could be inspired by
Yeah.
your story. So I think that it's so awesome that, even though we've gone through things in our life, we found avenues to kind of like channel, our message. And I think that you really did that with your book, and I'm so proud of you. Yeah, I think that it's great that you have been able to do this, and that you've been able to channel your message to people, through your book and through your life and your heart, which is so beautiful. And yeah, it's so awesome.
Thank you so much, Sydney. And that was just like, again, that was so amazing. And
Thank you.
I literally added your song to my playlist, and it's like,
thank you.
Helps me whenever I'm sad as well. So it's really awesome, and thank you.
Thank you. That's so beautiful. That means so much to me. And Sadie, I'm sure everybody's wondering, since we talked about your book, where can you get the book? Where can we buy it? Where can we find it? I'm sure everybody's wondering because everybody wants to read it. And if you're on the fence about purchasing it, like you need to go purchase it because it's awesome. So tell us where we can find it.
Yeah, you can buy Better Angels at sadiekellerfoundation.org and also betterangelsbook.com. So go check that out and get a book for your very own.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I'm so thankful that we got to do this together and that we got to chat. I miss you. And hopefully, like I said earlier, we could see each other soon.
Yes.
And I think that we're going to answer some questions in a little bit. So I'm super excited about that too. But like Sadie said, definitely make sure to get Better Angels. I think it's such an inspiring story. Sadie's story is so inspiring, and I think that it'll really help anybody who's going through a dark time. Yeah. Can you tell us about how we can watch Curefest or get involved? So, like I mentioned earlier, you can go to curefestusa.org. And the main thing that you want to do is register for Curefest. And then again, you can use the MoveSpring app, which is what we're using to track our miles and our steps for the walk that's on September 26th. And you're going to join with the code Curefest 2020 in all caps. And then you're also going to want to join the One Voice Challenge, which is how we are going to track our steps. And then also to watch our Curefest program, you can, again, register on our website. And then you can basically do everything through there. And it'll be 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 26th. It's a 30-minute program, and I highly encourage everybody to watch it. It's basically going to be like a cumulative thing of what goes on for our 3-day event in DC. That's usually in person.
Awesome. And then someone asked if I can tell them how I'm donating books to kids with cancer with Carson Michael McCall. And Carson Michael McCall, he is the co-author of Better Angels, and he wrote the foreword and afterword, which is super awesome. We've been working together for like a very long time now, and we're like good friends and good teammates. And what we've actually been doing is like all across Texas, we have been delivering books. So we've donated to my hospital, Children's Medical Center in Dallas, and also Medical City Children's Hospital in Dallas, as well as Texas Children's in Houston, which is super duper awesome. We're also doing Dell Children's and also MD Anderson, and hopefully we'll be able to do it just all over the country. So that's super duper exciting as well.
That's awesome. Let's see if there's any more questions.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, this is just so awesome that we get to do stuff like this, even during a time where we can't meet. Like for me and Sadie to be able to have this chat, like that would have normally been in person, you know, like we made it work. And I feel like it was just so awesome to be able to do this, and for everybody to watch too, you know, just to hear from the perspective of somebody who had cancer and then from the perspective of a sibling. And this was such a blast. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was just like so awesome, and like you said, it's like so different now because yeah, like we would probably be in person, but now I've kind of like gotten used to like doing virtual now, so it's gonna like whenever things go back to normal, I'm gonna be like, okay, now I have to do it normally again, so it's gonna be like a little different again.
Yeah, it's definitely like a weird time that we're living through right now, but I feel like we're making it work. And I also think something that's super important that I forgot to mention is, even though like the pandemic is still going on, and Sadie, I know you feel the same way too, like there's still so much that you can do to help kids with cancer and to help families. And I feel like the families like and the kids were kind of forgotten about during this pandemic because there were so many other things going on. But you know, kids are still getting sick, kids are still dying, unfortunately, and kids still don't have enough treatment and you know, funding for research. So during this time, I feel like it's so important for us to kind of like rally together as like a child cancer community, and to like engage and educate the general public about what goes on and how, you know, even right now, things are still happening, you know?
Yeah. And also like social media, that's something that's been like now the biggest thing, because it's the easiest things that people can do without having to, you know, travel all across the country. And so it's like, that's why everything is like now over social media, and we're posting about childhood cancer on social media more because, and especially about during September. And so it's like just doing that more. Everything is just all across Instagram and Facebook and everything like that.
Yeah. And
I don't know if there will be any more questions, but this was super duper fun.
Yeah, it was so great. I'm so glad that I got to chat with you and see you virtually. And when I see you in person, I can't wait to give you a hug when that's acceptable.
Me too, I know.
And yeah, this was so much fun.
Definitely. And just thank you everyone for watching and hearing about Better Angels and just what we do.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Well, thank you, Sadie. It was so great to talk to you, and I love you, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.